Batman Returns, the game, released in 1992 and 1993, based on the Tim Burton film starring Michelle Pfeiffer, Danny DeVito, and Michael Keaton. The game can be played on a plethora of platforms, basically every handheld and home console at the time, but each version wasn't developed by the same game studio, resulting in largely different experience depending upon the platform. The NES version plays akin to Double Dragon, while the Sega versions are action-based side-scrollers. The DOS version of the game is more of an adventure title, and the Super Nintendo version is an arcade beat-em-up resembling Final Fight. On the Atari Lynx, Atari's handheld competitor for the Nintendo Game Boy and the Sega Game Gear, Batman Returns features side-scrolling action gameplay, but the game is ridiculously hard due to the lack of extra lives, no continues, and an onslaught of enemies and projectiles that'll have the Cape Crusader curled up in a ball, crying for his dead parents. Too soon? Oh, and you heard me right. You die in any of the game's 4 levels, and you start back at level 1. No continues, no passwords. Wholly unfair, Batman! Visually, the game looks great for what the Lynx could push out. The colors are vivid, and everything from character designs to the environments seems straight out of the movie. I consider this a success, especially considering the sheer amount of alterations during the filming process that forced Atari to keep pace in order to get the character portrayals to match perfectly with their on-screen counterparts. I'll give credit where credit is due, as the game follows the major plot points in the movie, well, at least the opening and ending sequences, as the Dark Knight battles against the Red Triangle Gang during the rioting scene in the opening sequence of the movie, escaping from the police across rooftops when framed for the death of the Ice Princess, punching rocket launching penguins in the sewer, and having a final confrontation with the penguin at the zoo. Batman looks great. Heck, even the enemies match their on-film counterparts, with easily recognizable designs such as the organ grinder with his hand-cranked mini Gatling gun, the knife thrower dame with her throwing knives and Native American costume, and the thin and fat clowns. Batman is capable of jumping, punching, and throwing a limited number of batarangs. You'll also pick up vials of acid as a limited resource to use. Enemies and projectiles pop out just about everywhere in the game. Clowns leaping out of dumpsters, explosives tossed up through sewer grates, bombs being dropped from doors that are repeatedly opening and closing on their own. Maybe Gotham is haunted at the same time. There are so many enemies that at times I found it best to try and jump and run past them, if only to survive to the next level. Trying to fight every enemy is a death sentence for Batman. The main problem, the Penguin's henchmen can whittle down your health while right on top of you, but you can't even hit them. But worst of all is the sheer amount of projectiles you need to avoid, as everything explodes and knocks the bat to the ground, giving you 0 recovery time. You remember those stunt motorcyclists with their giant skull mask that burst out of the presence in the movie? Yeah, they show up, speeding across the screen from both directions, running Batman over. They always roam in packs, and a split second after getting knocked down the first time, another one will come to run you over before you even get to stand up. Luckily, Batman has a lot of health, and the health pickups are conveniently placed, but be prepared to get knocked down again and again. Oh, and you know how I said you were leaping across rooftops in the second level? Getting shot while jumping means you fall straight down between buildings for an instant death, regardless of the amount of health you have. Welcome back to level 1. Simply put, Batman Returns became a pack-in title for the improved Lynx 2 for certain regions, but overall, the game is disappointing. It looks great, even today, but the game is just too damn difficult, and the core game design falls flat. Any game that requires you to avoid all combat in order to beat it is a stinker in my book. Tone down the infinite amount of explosives, implement a lives or continue system, and it would have been a good version of the game. As it stands, Batman Returns on Atari Lynx is mediocre at best.